morning, tribe. It's 6:15 a.m. Today is Thursday, February 22nd, 2018, Central Standard Time, planet Earth, third dimension. Something's been kind of on my mind lately. Oh, and we're back in the F-250, so the lighting isn't as good as the lighting was in the 2500, the Chevy. But the Chevy's considerably louder than the F-250 is because the Chevy has an 8.2 liter gas motor in it and dual exhaust. And the Ford has a 5.7 liter gas motor in it and not dual exhaust, just factory exhaust. So the Chevy's considerably better at pulling a trailer than the Ford, but the Ford gets it done and is considerably better at being a daily driver because it's got 3 less liters than the Chevy does. Anywho, sorry for the lighting. As always, apologies for the terrible cinematography. This is not my day job. I just do this because I feel an onus to speak truth as I understand it and to try and absorb and process as much information as I can and then regurgitate it to you to get you thinking about your life, your systems, your level of preparedness, your worldviews. How does what I say affect you? When we don't have to agree, that's not the point of this. The point of this is that maybe through an open dialogue, I can expose a chink in your armor that you can firm up, and vice versa. Maybe you can help me with that. And some of y'all have. You know, I don't know if you know, but cayenne pepper will clot blood. Heard that a couple times already. And I'm thankful for it. But, you know, this is not my day job. And maybe we'll get some traction on this thing, and it will be. We'll see. But as of right now, it's not, which is why we're in the truck northbound Preston Road 289 at 6:17 a.m., approximately 57 miles per hour. The ambient temperature is 33 degrees and it has rained for 3 days straight. So there is a possibility that there'll be a little ice on the road because the farther north we get, the lower the temperature is going to go. So if you never see this video, it's probably because I spun off the road and ended up in a ditch. Anyway, 3 minutes in, we haven't even gotten to what we're supposed to be talking about, which I'm good at. That is the trademark of these videos, the long intro. Here's what's on my mind. If any of y'all are double owls, Nothing Fancy fans from way back, he did a video a while ago called Don't Hasten the Day, talking about how preparedness is good, but it is not good to try and usher in a situation in America that creates a long-term without rule of law situation. Civil war, civil unrest, you know, another revolutionary war, whatever, right? And he makes a lot of points that I agree with. I'm a big fan of Nuttin. He's done a lot of good work for the gear community and gun community and prepper community, and he's just a good dude, right? And again, you don't have to agree with everything he says. This is life. But he's pretty well squared away. And I agree that we should not go out of our way to collapse the system because rule of law living is considerably easier and better than without rule of law living. However, and you guys knew there was a however coming because that's what I do. I seem to live my life pulling as hard as possible from 2 completely diametrically composed angles. Macro, micro, big scale, small scale, due west, due east, due north, due south, right? 2 completely opposing angles. Because life is a juxtaposition of those things, right? It's never all due north. Go do land nav. You cannot walk due north, right? You're gonna have to sidestep and work around and shoot bearings and all that. right? It's always something with life. Here's my thing with this, and it's something that I'm really convicted about. I do not want society to fall apart. I do not want, without rule of law, or, it has hit the fan. Excuse me, I had to spit. Or it's the end of the world as we know it, a grid down situation, North Korean invasion, a pandemic, virus, or whatever. I don't want any of that. Especially civil war or revolutionary war. I don't want any of that. Civil wars are incredibly bloody. History will teach us that. But whether I want it or not, it's gonna come. Statistically speaking, historically speaking, we're about there. One of the things I talk about constantly on this channel is the end stage decadent empire that we live in and the death pangs that it's experiencing right now and has been for quite some time. I don't think you get to a point, love them or hate them, where you have Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton as presidential candidates unless you're living in a decadent end stage society. The end. Right? That's all I'll say about that. But, the days of, generals as presidents is over because we don't respect the warrior class anymore. Right? And we've moved into decadence. So, because we've moved into decadence, I feel we are, statistically speaking, at the end of the approximate 250-year run that most civilizations have. Right? We're 242 years, coming up on 243 in. So, maybe we beat the odds and this thing runs another 50 years. Maybe we don't. And I really, truly feel that if this thing is going to come off the rails, I want it to happen now. And let me be very clear about this. I'm not advocating for creating a without rule of law situation. I'm not advocating for civil war, revolutionary war, government overflow, pandemic overthrow, pandemic flu, viruses, zombie apocalypses, nuclear holocaust, CMPs, grid down, none of that. I don't want any of that. However, if it's gonna come, let it come now, because tomorrow I'll be a day older, I'll be a day slower, a day weaker. It's just fact, right? And I train, I do hard things, and I make things happen. But if something's gonna happen, let it happen now, while I can do something about it. I don't want this problem to be a problem for my kids. And I do need to train my children on all of the things that they're gonna need if this problem is their problem. If I'm an old man when this happens, which will break my heart. I don't want to be an old man when this happens. But I'd rather handle it now. That's just the way I'm built. That is an immutable force in my life. If there's a problem, I want to handle it now rather than wait for it to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Just deal with it now. And so to that degree, y'all know we're moving to Oklahoma. We're getting away from population density. We are striving to become more and more self-sufficient and to be less dependent on the system that runs this end-stage decadent empire, that when this thing falls apart, hopefully we don't even notice because we're so out of tune with it in the first place that it doesn't affect us. Or it affects us, but to a minimal degree. So, to the ends that I can, I'm doing what I can to address the situation now, which is why I'm into preparedness, which is why you're here, because you're also into preparedness, right? We can't affect the macro in this situation, so we affect the micro, our personal sphere of influence, which maybe 2-3 steps outside of that sphere. Here we are on YouTube hanging out, right? But I really feel like if this thing's gonna pop, let it be now, so that, you know, I don't want to look, I don't want to armor up and grab a rifle. I don't. I'm over it. Been there, done that, over it. But I will, in a heartbeat, to defend what I love, to protect my family, to protect my tribe. And if this place is all going to hell in a handbasket anyway, man, let's just get there already. Like, that's rip the Band-Aid off. It's not going to get any better. You sit there picking at it. And I guess I've just gotten to the point where I don't think that we're in a recoverable position. I think it's better to just scrap the whole thing and start over again. Which, again, historically speaking, is what's likely to happen. And I don't know what America 2.0 looks like. We have a lot of exposure. We have a lot of critical weaknesses as a nation, including people that drive in the middle of damn rural roads where we have to get over all the way on the shoulders so that they don't hit us. But anyway, I don't know how to be more clear about this, men, than to say I don't want it to hit the fan, but if it's gonna hit the fan, it might as well get up there and hit the fan already. Because every day I get a little bit more ornery, a little less patient. The heart hardens a little more. You know, my kids get a day older, and a day older, and a day older. My back gets a day older, and a day older, and a day older. And there's going to come a point where this responsibility rests squarely on their shoulders, not mine. And that will break my heart. For me, but mostly for them. Because as a dad, I don't want my children to have to bear that burden. And frankly, I don't want your children to have to bear that burden either. And I have serious misgivings about some of these younger generational members as well. And I get it, there's been idiots in every generation since jump. But we used to let social Darwinism take care of that, and we don't anymore. So we have a higher population density of young morons than we used to. But we also have a higher population of older morons than we used to as well. So, brief aside. Listen, man, the point is, I don't want this thing to fall off the tracks and go to hell. But damn, if it's gonna, let's do it already. It's kind of where I'm at. And so I'm not trying to hasten the day. I'm not trying to hasten the day. But I'm not opposed to it hurrying up and getting here either. I've only got so much left in me. So if we're going to do this thing, might as well do it now. Talk to y'all later. Bye.